Glad you could join us on another conversation on Business Redefined. This is your weekly, most comprehensive look at the world of business, finance, and economics. We want to get into the third leg of the conversation we have been having about mobile telephony and the embedding of AI technology into it and how that is changing the landscape as far as use cases are concerned. And tonight we are privileged to have Ryan Mule from Samsung Electronics, where he handles B2B accounts. Karibu sana, bro.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us, brother.
Great to be here.
Let's just kick it off by a status update. A while back, you and I were having a conversation around the unveiling of the S25 in the Kenyan market. How is the traction going so far?
The traction has been great. The model has been very well received. Of course, the S25 actually has ushered in the next level of mobile AI on mobile devices. Yes. I know we've been talking about Galaxy AI with the previous model, but the S25 takes it to the next step, where we've actually introduced what we're calling agentic AI. And if you'd allow me to sort of demystify
Go ahead.
Agentic AI, from a technical standpoint, basically is any software that's able to use artificial intelligence to actually achieve a goal that requires multiple steps. Yeah. So I could actually prompt the Galaxy S25 to find the next Premier League game and add it to my calendar. Yeah. So that's what agentic AI does. It's able to actually take a command and execute it between different apps and different contexts. Wow. So if you think about how a human agent actually works, a housing agent, maybe a travel agent, they have to do multiple things to actually deliver a service to you. Yes. So by the time they send you your booking or reservation and they tell you, oh, here's the listings, they have to go search for it, they have to do the analysis, they have to do all these steps to actually deliver that service or product to you. So that's how agentic AI also works. It listens to what is your primary goal. So in this case, I want to find out what football game is happening. So it will identify the game, the time, and then go into the sub-goal or the secondary goal of actually scheduling it into your calendar. Now, you could go into your browser, start searching, check if it's the correct time, then go into your calendar, do the same. So that's what now the S25 actually enables you to do. So you can imagine there's a whole list of different capabilities and commands you can actually give the device, and it's able to execute a lot of things on your behalf seamlessly across different applications.
Always blows me away what just AI is capable of doing, especially as we transition now from the generative to the agentic. But now, getting more to the market-centric conversation, from a competitive landscape standpoint, now, what does this embedding of agentic AI mean for players like yourselves?
So it's actually part of our brand ethos to always be ahead of the technology curve and actually to set the standards for technology and make new technological trends more accessible to everyone from a mobile standpoint. So you'd understand that when it comes to AI, there's a lot of thought that, you can only access AI from a particular platform, but we're bringing it straight to the mobile device on the S25 and later on even into the A series like we discussed. So for us, or from a competitive landscape, it's a matter of being as relevant and as impactful as possible, as early as possible. So that's how we stay ahead of the curve, because what AI is bringing to the fold, whether it's on an organizational level or a personal level, is unlocking a level of competitive advantage that you can actually harness. So by us introducing agentic AI onto a mobile device, we're actually not only giving the user, ourselves as a brand, that competitive advantage or edge, but we're also giving our users that edge over everyone else. So I usually like to say, the people who are using AI will far outmaneuver or outshine those people who are not. And I talked about being an AI explorer.
Or an AI commoner, as the extreme spectrum.
The extreme spectrum,
But here's the thing, even as you talk about embedding AI into technology, and we are trying to, if I could say, democratize it, the question that emerges is, for some of us who would feel priced out of our ability to actually use devices like the one you're holding, the S25, is there a plan to scale this down further to the A series, for instance, which is now the mid-range?
So I would like to actually answer that without giving away too much. But yes, of course, what usually happens is, and you'll find this already happening with our tablets. So at the introduction of Galaxy AI, we actually trickled those capabilities to our S range of tablets. So the current S10, S10 Plus series has elements of Galaxy AI, albeit not the same as the S25, but it's there. So what usually happens is that inclusivity of functionality does get trickled down with a few features reserved for the flagship, because also, with the flagship, there's a certain level of computational power that can only be achieved here. So we will actually work to introduce AI into the fold of the other categories, and you will be hearing of that soon. So again, I cannot give too much away.
We could break the news here.
Yeah,
No,
and that also allows us to also play within those price points you're talking about. Yeah, in terms of the features. So I like to say usually with our Samsung products, you are not left out of that experience. You still get a good experience whether you have the AI or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And now you had a portfolio around B2B, and I'm really intrigued by that because it looks like you are looking to diversify away from what I would call a retail focus, retail market focus, into more corporate targeted. Give us some insight into that.
Yeah, definitely. So the B2B space is a very crucial and very high potential space for us as a device manufacturer. We are already playing in that space in various ways. So our products were cutting across the smartphones, and that's across all the ranges from the entry all the way to the top of the range. Our smartphones and tablets are actually used in corporate environments. Yeah. And it's a space where we want to expand our availability and our offering, not only of the hardware, but also our software solutions. Yeah. Now, what most people don't know is that, for instance, if we were to sell to Nation Media Group 10,000 tablets, the IT would probably need a way to manage these devices. So maybe they're being used for journalism in the field. So we have a solution known as Knox, which is twofold. So Knox is a security platform that runs on the device to secure the device, but it's also a cloud-based solution. So your IT administrator can actually manage multiple devices from a console where they can not only track and monitor them, but they can also control what features are accessible and usable, all the way to actually limiting use within a particular area. So
you call it geofencing.
Or geofencing, yeah.
Correct.
So that level of control is what in the space we simply call mobile device management, and we have a suite of solutions that allow you to do that, to manage the devices on a very granular level, to protect the asset, and also ensure that the asset is being utilized for the right purposes in that B2B environment. So that's a space that
we are... And also as a security.
And also as a security measure, and that's a space we are actively growing. Also we have partnerships, of course, with financiers who allow people to actually procure these devices on installment plans and to pay weekly and pay a deposit and access the device. Those same financiers need a solution to actually manage those devices while they're in the hands of their customers, and we have a solution called NoxGuard that allows the financiers to actually manage those devices and secure them, and manage the payments as well. So that's another angle of our business that we're very actively looking into, because the devices unlock a lot of productivity and efficiency. We're looking at education, we're looking at healthcare, government spaces. So the possibilities are endless there.
That's quite intriguing. And there are many Kenyans who have watched our previous conversations around, especially the S25, and this conversation of your device being your personal assistant. And I know you've touched on this as you began your remarks, but help us understand why this is particularly critical for the Samsung value proposition.
Yeah, so again, the Samsung value proposition isn't just about the best and flashiest hardware. I know sometimes a lot of us in the tech space get caught up with talking about the numbers and the RAM and the megapixels, but that value proposition is about giving you the most productive and efficient experience you can have from your phone. So your phone becomes, yes, it's a perfect communication tool, but if you really wanted to go above and beyond your business capabilities, your work capabilities while you're on the move, you can do that. And with something like the Ultra, we've got the pen as well. So I can give you a good example. So we could rock up to a meeting, me and you, and I don't show up with my notebook, but I show up with the S25, and I tell you I'm going to record our conversation. So the S25 will actually record our entire conversation, transcript it, which you might argue it can be transcripted in any other way, but Galaxy AI will actually be able to understand the highlights of that conversation and summarize it. So I have all my meeting notes with me. From our conversation. I go back to the office, I meet with my team, connect the S25 to a screen, then we can actually review the notes that were transcribed by the phone. What that means is I don't have to go sit down at a laptop, send an email, here are the meeting notes, here are the action points. We can actually get to doing something immediately, so we can get to the market faster, we can make decisions faster. So that's a value proposition when it comes to a business perspective. For the creators as well, this is actually a really powerful creation tool. So of course, you've got the cameras, which are now also powered by AI. You're able to use AI to augment certain features. So if you take a video in a windy situation, the audio eraser, actually the AI uses an audio eraser that understands all the background noises, and you can simply erase out the wind noise.
Wow.
So again, you can imagine, like in your case, you're out there in the field and you want to shoot a video and send it to someone, and it's part of your reporting. You can actually do that. So from a creativity standpoint, from a business standpoint, from even a learning standpoint, with the pen you can write a mathematical equation, and the math helper will actually read the equation and give you the solution.
Wow.
So if you really wanted to, and that's the power of an AI, of what we're calling an AI assistant or a personal assistant, it does as much as you're capable of extracting from it.
And actually, it really extracts efficiencies for you, for optimal productivity. But speak about the conversation on security, because of course, we get many questions around if we are, for example, keeping all this data in the cloud, how certain are we where it is housed, security, and especially in an environment where data protection and privacy is now front and center of every other discourse. Yeah,
so security is going to continue to be a very important talking point. So I'll talk about it in two folds. So with Samsung, our devices are running what's known Samsung Knox. So it's our proprietary security architecture. It's actually embedded in the chip of the device at the hardware level and also at the software level. So it's actively actually monitoring for threats and blocking those threats out. It's doing everything in the background for you. Now, all your passwords, your PINs, your fingerprint scans are actually sitting in that special, very heavily encrypted section of the device, which is covered by Knox. But at the same time, now that we're talking about AI, a lot of information actually, of course, goes to the cloud. Now, Galaxy AI, of course, is our suite of all these AI capabilities. And the beauty of Samsung is that a lot of those capabilities are actually sitting on device. And of course, yes, some of them are being processed in the cloud. Now, from a user perspective, if I am a bit concerned about how much of it is going to the cloud, I actually can go and toggle in the settings for all that information that is AI related to only be processed on the device. So it doesn't get processed outside. And that doesn't mean that you don't get a lot of the functionality that we've been talking about. A majority of it is still there. Now, take it to another step further. You've got these S25s in a corporate environment. Maybe they're being used by top-level executives, let's say 50 of them, 100 of them. And you're concerned about that. So you can actually have a policy control that is sent out by the IT manager that blocks any AI operations happening outside of the device. Now, the user will not know. The user doesn't have to toggle anything. And then those settings only happen in a special containerized section of the phone where all the work applications are sitting. So again, our systems also allow you to separate your phone and partition it, personal space, workspace. Now you can, in the workspace where all my company emails and everything else, applications are running, if I want to use AI there, it will only be on device. And the IT can provision that. Then if I want to use all the full AI capabilities, I use it only in my personal space. Again, that is what makes Samsung tremendously unique. Because again, we've layered all this functionality and all these powers, not only at the hardware level, but even at the software level, covering both work and personal lifestyles.
So clearly you can compartmentalize within the same device your private engagements versus your corporate, if I could say, work engagement. Kenya is in a space where we have seen a draft policy talking about AI. Where do you think we are going as a country? There are those who fear whenever we get into this kind of space, then we'll tend to regulatory overreach, and then that will stifle innovation and growth. Do you have such concerns, or how do you see us progressing?
No, I see in terms of, and it's, I guess it's what would also be a good discussion point in the digital summit that's coming up. So the whole aspect of policy and regulation, it's quite a learning curve. And there'll be a lot of experimentation, I would say, that's going to happen in that space. Because like the discussion we had earlier, you see, AI is developing at such a rapid pace. Every 6 months or so, there's a new development. So the important thing with governments, not only in Kenya, is how can we actually create policies and regulations that are not going to be outrun by the pace of AI. Yeah?
Yeah.
And how can we work with the players, whether it's the OEMs like us in the market, in a local context, to actually build sort of frameworks that make sense for different contexts. Yeah. So that would be an important part. I think it's still at very early stages where governments are trying to understand what can we regulate, what should we regulate. Even the regulation of how AI is going to impact jobs and industries is still not very 100% clear. So they'll take a lot of stakeholder engagement, which I believe many OEMs might be willing to take part in, and just building that knowledge flow and going by how the trends are shaping the market to really try and understand before jumping into the policy and regulation, because it'll have to be very adaptable.
And agile.
And very agile. So I would say it's still, it's early times, but still a lot is required to understand that at the moment.
But Ryan, given what you've said around just how fast we keep on seeing new developments around the AI space, many have asked me, how do we keep pace? How do we ensure that with every single day, we are not lagging behind, playing catch up on this innovation, which is changing not just the workspace, but our day-to-day engagements?
Yeah. I think an easy one to say would be, by the S25 you'll be up to date. But one thing I would say, and I tell it to friends, I tell it to colleagues, is you need to be what I would term an AI explorer in this day and age, because we have such a massive access to information now than we ever did even a year ago. So there's a lot of tools, a lot of platforms, online resources where you can actually discover and learn AI at a very entry level, at a very granular level as well. So the only way you can actually keep pace is by keeping informed. And it's also part of our drive at Samsung, because one of our major objectives, even as we launch the S25, is to educate people on how AI can actually have an impact on your life, whether it's with your work, whether it's with your creativity, which is also a very big thing. That's one of our major goals this year and going forward, not only to introduce AI-powered phones, but to actually educate on what the AI experience really is and what you can do with it. So the key competitive advantage is to learn and make the effort to learn, whether it's 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and don't shy away from it. Because if you do, again, the 6 months pass and you wake up, there's a new platform.
There's a new platform. All right, that point by Ryan takes us to a very quick break. We shall be right back with a lot more on this conversation and touching on what we can expect ahead of the Digital Summit, which of course is hosted by the Nation Media Group, so stay tuned. Welcome to the last leg of this conversation, where we're talking about the mobile telephony space in this Kenyan market, and specifically about the embedding of AI, artificial intelligence, into its capabilities. We are privileged to have Ryan Muller from Samsung Electronics. Thank you so much, bro. We are looking forward to the Digital Summit taking place between the 19th and the 21st. What can we expect? Because I know you'll be a speaker there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also looking forward to that. I think there's a lot of discussions that are going to happen there around not only AI, but also African innovation, innovation within Africa. So for us, what we are going to be presenting is, of course, looking at how Samsung has really played a big part in transforming personal and business productivity through the technology that we have. And we've had this discussion here today with what the S25 can do, but we'll obviously also touch on what our other product lines are actually capable of doing, including our NOx solutions. But we'll also take the opportunity to also just have a quick touch on AI and the trends around AI and what we have been doing in that field and how we are charging forward to bring AI to the masses. So that will be our contribution there. We're really looking forward to interacting with the rest of the guests as well.
We certainly look forward to that and keenly following it, and we'll be broadcasting it on NTV, so be sure to join us for that conversation. Many Kenyans online are asking me about, Ryan spoke about the AI capabilities in video production. Could we get more context around how this works?
Yeah, great. So one of
As you can imagine, these are the content creators.
Yeah, these are the content creators. And like I said, this is just a massive content creation tool. So there's two things I'd like to talk about. The first, of course, is using AI to actually get you editing on the go. Now, the one feature that we talked about was, for example, the audio eraser, being able to actually do that. But there's another really interesting videography feature that's on this. So with the auto trim feature, Basically, it takes when you take a video, AI actually is able to analyze that video and understand what are the key highlights from that video.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's able to understand this is a highlight moment. So it's going to actually do a trim of that video. It could be a 5-minute video, 3-minute video, whatever it is. And it's actually going to trim it down and pick out the highlight sections or frames of that video, and then stitch it back together and present it to you as an edited video. Now,
that's
again,
impressive.
that gives you that capability to go live, to post immediately.
Real time.
Yeah, so if you're competing with other content creators, or if you want to get your news out there really quick and it's already done perfectly, without you having to spend too much time in what they call post, it can do that. The other aspect of this for content creation is its ability to actually shoot really high-end professional level videos. So in the videography world, there's a format known as log, which basically allows you to, once you're trying to edit your videos on any editing suite, it allows you to extract the richest depths of color, almost true-to-life colors from that. So being able to shoot in that actually opens up a lot of capabilities for anyone who has videography needs from this device. And there have been cases where people have used previous S models to actually shoot online episodes of full, really high-end episodic kind of TV shows that are running online. These cases have been there. So this unlocks that. But that ability to auto-trim, and one of my favorites, even just as a casual user, there's also a smooth zoom feature where, when you're using your phone and you're zooming in, it looks a bit rushed. So with the smooth zoom feature, it actually just cinematically zooms into a subject. You can cinematically zoom in and cinematically zoom out. So it's very, very smooth, and it flows really well for your content. So if you're a very amateur videographer or photographer, you can really scale up with this. So that's how AI comes into play, optimization, AI filters that are able to match different color tones just automatically by looking at the environment. So there's a lot of things that you can really play around with here.
All right. Maybe let me pick another question which I'm seeing here by many of our viewers, asking about affordability. And I know you have financing solutions, so maybe that's the way to answer it.
So definitely it is. Again, and with the affordability angle, the main objective for us is, on a broader sense, how can we get more people experiencing and connected to smartphones? When you talk about internet penetration in Africa, right now we're at about 38% versus global average of around 68%. So how do brands come into this market and now try and bridge that gap for us? And that's what we do with the finances. So Samsung products, yes, you can access them. Certain categories of our products you can access through our partners like Watu Simu, like M-Copper. And then on some of the mid to higher end products, we also have partnerships with Loop, for instance, that allow you to actually purchase these devices and pay for them in different mechanics, from installments to loan products. So that's how we make the products a lot more accessible, and that has actually also expanded our reach in terms of our distribution and how many customers we're able to access. But again, it's all about getting people connected to smart devices, because smart devices in general really unlock a lot for business, for personal use, for creativity. The whole content creation economy is running on it, and we want to be the backbone of it with our devices.
So price point should not be a barrier to accessibility?
Not anymore.
We have a minute to go. Let me give you an opportunity to give us your parting shot.
So my parting shot goes back to learn as much as you can about the technology that's around you, because technology is moving at a very fast pace. We will be here to give you the products and the solutions to keep you up to pace, but spend time learning and exploring technology. Become an AI explorer is what I would say.
All right. Ryan, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much as well.
We have been having a conversation with Ryan Muller from Samsung Electronics, speaking about developments in the mobile telephony market and also larger just technology and where artificial intelligence is taking us as far as use cases are concerned. Products like the S25 changing the landscape entirely in terms of the capabilities you can unlock, whether it is for your personal use or for your corporate use at your day-to-day workstation. We continue to highlight these things. Remember, the Digital Summit takes place between the 19th and the 21st of February, so let's all converge there. If you can't join us at the coast, please be sure to tune into NTV to catch up with the latest as we unpack issues, whether it is policy and regulatory, as well as emerging trends in the tech space. Stay tuned to Business Redefined.